Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Liberty Libations number 39. My name is Jake Green. Tonight, I've got some usuals joining me, Mr. Stephen Hilton, Alden Hardee, Zane Placie, and a guest. Why don't you introduce yourself, Suhas?
So, hey everyone, I'm Suhas. I'm currently a senior at the University of Georgia. I got to know about this podcast through Zane. Me and Zane became friends freshman year. I would certainly say Zane has pushed me more towards the libertarian side of things, but certainly me and Zane, while we're on agreement on a lot of things, but we still have our disagreements. But yeah, that's how I got to know about this podcast.
Suhas, nice. You sound like somebody in a job interview just asked you to introduce yourself. I know you've been doing a lot of interviewing recently.
Dude, I've been doing so many interviews.
Yeah, so you're just practicing. This is just one 2-hour-long interview to see if we welcome you into the Libertarian Party. That's how this is going to go.
I like that Zane is like a pusher of liberty.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
That's not surprising whatsoever. He's an encyclopedia of freaking libertarian knowledge. It's kind of disturbing at times.
I mean, that's what happens when you read Man, Economy, and State.
Yeah, most likely more than once. Goodness gracious. Well, what did I miss? I was gone for the last 2 weeks. Steven, update me. What did I miss, man?
So Hawaii caught on fire, and it was maybe laser beams, and it was definitely not laser beams. Turns out it was actually looks like democide now, because there's actually stories now. I'm trying to vet these, but anyways, what I was seeing earlier today on my lunch break was that there was actually barricades set up to prevent people from leaving the town. So not only do you have the guy that was like the water manager or whatever that is, he was one of the local tribal leaders that, they revere the water. So he would not give them permission to use water to put out the fire until it was way too late. But now there's stories coming out too that barricades were set up, and apparently the government in Hawaii, specifically, on the island of Maui, they're blocking the news. They're trying to only allow the government approved news to come out, which is a telltale sign that something really stinks there.
But you gotta be a little comforted in the fact that Joe Biden showed up and said that his house almost caught on fire one time. It has to be.
It happens to everybody.
Now, is that when Hunter fell asleep in the bathtub, or
yeah?
I think it's when his private chef maybe was making them a meal.
That
happens in every American household. Those private chefs really screw things up.
Instead of the burning Alaska, he was trying to make a burning Hawaii, or flaming Alaska, whatever it is.
Okay, so
it got out of hand.
You mentioned that someone told them not to put the fire out at the beginning when it was first started. The same thing happened in Montana 3 weeks ago for a forest fire. There were a bunch of guys there with a water truck and said, "We see a fire that started. Can we go put it out?" Because it was on private property. And the officials said, "Do not go put that out." And then it spread to be like a 1,000-acre fire.
Who follows those orders?
I don't know.
If it turns out that people died because of that, how do you look at yourself in the mirror, knowing that I drive a water truck, I was right there by the hose, the guy told me not to do it, and I watched this family burn to death?
Another kind of fishy thing about the Maui fires is now they're talking about making Maui like the first smart island community or whatever, which is just another thing that stinks. So
the government's trying to buy out the land.
Yeah,
hey, go check out banishbigbrother.com, because that is one of our biggest projects, is to shut down smart cities. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. Also, we forgot to mention, if you like this podcast, if you find it interesting, funny, stupid, leave us a review. Follow us on, follow LP Georgia on Twitter. What else do we got? We got Rumble, Instagram. I don't know. All the social medias. If we're
on all of them.
Yeah, we're on all of them at this point.
Definitely leave a review if you think it's stupid. I want to read that.
Y'all, we did get another strike on YouTube, but I challenged it and we won.
What was it over?
COVID misinformation.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We went against the WHO's policies. And
I didn't wear a mask on my...
I believe it was you, Stephen. But I challenged it. I basically called them an idiot for doing that, and they actually gave it back to us somehow. I don't really know how that worked. So But yeah,
you probably only get a few of those, so
yeah,
it's a matter of time.
I've not won a challenge before, so that was interesting.
Then we also talked about up in Montana, there is a lawsuit where the children are suing the government for climate change.
Oh, good God! Of course,
and the judge has allowed this. There's a 7-year-old that's scared to grow up and have kids because of anthropogenic climate change, and that's why we need some ESG measures for our new technology.
I can't believe, like, it's. I'm moving to Montana to get out of these idiotic like measures that people get, but like the crazies are everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying for years. You can move out in the country; they will come find you.
At least the temperature's better up here. Like it's been 65 this whole time.
Live where you like the weather and the fishing and the beer. Like that's it.
The beer. That's the main thing, right, Alden?
Yeah. Or wine today, but
nice. All right, y'all. Well, let's get into it. Our first story is Atlanta-based Morris Brown College says they are reinstating COVID mask mandates. Let's watch this idiotic video and comment on it. Can y'all hear that?
No.
No.
There we go.
There we go.
This is what endemic means. It doesn't go away.
A spike in COVID cases, causing some concerns for Dr. Jane Morgan and other medical experts. The CDC's most recent data showing hospitalizations are up by 30% in Georgia.
We know now with this heat wave, so many people have been driven indoors when we're usually outdoors, and we're also traveling a lot during the summer, so we're carrying the virus from one group to the next.
Overall, the number of COVID-related cases is still low.
We really only have hospital data, so we don't have an idea really what the community transmission is.
Hang on. We gotta listen to this real quick.
We really only have hospital data, and so we don't have an idea really what the community transmission is.
So they're putting in measures based on literally no evidence, nothing. Like here's their actual greeting and like implementation of it. Effective immediately, Morris Brown College has reinstated its COVID-19 mask mandate due to reports of positive cases among students in the Atlanta University Center.
Due to hearsay.
14 days. Yeah, due to hearsay and due to just people having COVID, which is just like a usual thing nowadays. Like it's not like people are dying from it anymore.
Well, and the unspoken part, all of our adjunct professors don't like going to the campus.
There we go. I mean, why would you? You have to travel through freaking crime-riddled areas of Atlanta. Like, why would you want to go to campus? Like, I wouldn't want to go.
See, this college has under 50% graduation rate. I think they have much bigger problems than COVID.
Is it really under a 50% graduation rate?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, this is one of those colleges that costs so much money and provides little value to its student body.
That is unbelievable. Suhas, your volume just kind of started messing up. Can you log out and log back in, and I'll bring you back in when you come back? Cool. Thank you.
But hey, they've got a great drum line.
They do have a great drum line.
Yeah.
I wonder if the rest of their marching band will have to bring back the masks that have the big hole in it so that you can play the instrument through the mask.
Did they really do that?
They really did that. Yeah.
Those are my favorite.
Played the trumpet and the saxophone through their mask. What
the air's coming out of the horn.
Yeah.
At the end, right? Like, what does that do?
Well, it just makes it expand it more and go further. So, like, it's trying to funnel it so it goes further.
Okay.
So the instrument playing masks are one of the reasons why I think we can be optimistic that the power elite really aren't that smart, because there's no way that you can look at somebody playing an instrument through a mask that has a big hole in it and think that that's not going to make people question the entire COVID regime.
Yeah, they went too far with that one. Wouldn't it be better to just pull the mask down while you're playing and then put a mask back on without a hole in it? If masks work, wouldn't that make more sense? Like,
no, because Alden, you breathe through your nose sometimes, not just your mouth. Yeah.
But if you're doing brass, you're circle breathing. You're only breathing in through your nose.
No, I don't think that's correct. I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, Morris Brown isn't the only one doing it. A whistleblower says COVID restrictions beginning with mask mandates as COVID cases rise at TSA and Border Patrol. So get prepared for more mask wearing on planes.
I don't fly really, so.
Well, I'll just get my doctor to write a letter saying that I get acute hypoxia when I wear a mask.
There we go. I love it.
That's enough to scare some
everybody
people away.
does. I mean, doesn't everybody, like, isn't it if you wear your mask for more than an hour?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you have major problems. TSA,
it's not good.
Border Patrol aren't the only ones doing it. We got Lionsgate doing it as well, which is no surprise since it's freaking Hollywood.
Yeah.
It is funny that I love that they mentioned that the studio behind John Wick and the Hunger Games has reinstated mask mandates.
Specifically.
Like, come on, y'all. Give me a break.
So this whole situation will kind of be a good test of a theory that I've been pushing for a long time, which is that the COVID mandates can't come back because they're just too played out and there's too large of a percentage of the population that has come to the realization that they're all complete BS. Like right at the start of the pandemic, very few people were able to see through it. And now I feel like, once we got 1 or 2 years into it, a lot of people were able to kind of realize how ridiculous the whole thing was. And I've been telling myself and telling other people, too many people see through this now, they can't bring it back. So if they are successful in bringing it back, that would be a strike against optimism. But I still think, however, I will say that, one or two institutions start talking about bringing back the mask mandates and the entire internet has spent the last several days just doing nothing but mercilessly mocking them.
That's true.
And I think that that's a good sign.
I was in Boston for this past summer. I don't think you want to underestimate how dumb people can be. Literally, like literally on my plane to Boston, beside me, there was a young person, a young lady, wearing a mask, an LGBTQ plus mask. And in the Boston airport, I saw so many people wearing Pride masks or BLM masks. So, do not underestimate the stupidity of the American people.
I just flew through Boston, and you're 100% correct. So many mask wearers were in Boston. It was ridiculous.
Was it 3 masks?
Oh yeah, some of them did have 3 masks.
Some of them did have more than one.
Well, hey, I think here in Podunk, Sonoya, Georgia,
the BLM mask.
Here in Podunk, Sonoya, Georgia, just driving down the road, I pull up at a red light. Was next to somebody at a red light a few days ago. Mask on in the car by themselves.
Oh, good God!
I've seen a lot of the masks in one person walking on the sidewalk in a neighborhood on a sunny day, just wearing masks and things. Like when I was in Washington a lot, and
that is so painful. I mean, it's literally doing the opposite of helping your health.
Yeah, honestly, it's actually going to cause you more problems, and you're going to actually be probably less even likely to fight something if you end up with like a chest infection or something. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not trying to get another.
I can halfway understand it. Like when it's cold outside and your heat doesn't work in your car, and you put the mask on because it keeps your face warm. Like that's the only time that makes sense to me.
Yep.
Oh, I'll do it to stay warm. That's a whole different thing.
Right.
Yeah. I'll do a gaiter or a scarf.
Yeah.
To stay warm. No freaking mask. Give me
a
break.
I think the 3 thing was like they did 2 and then they did 3. I think it was like a test in like psychology, like lemming, like commitment and consistency type stuff, like to see like what percentage of the population is at that point where they will listen to the government at that level of just absurdity. I really truly think this is like a social experiment on some level, just to see where we're at as a population.
WJC has an interesting question. Do they have to wear masks on the picket line? Because currently Lionsgate is in the strike. So like they're not producing anything. So I don't know what this mandate is. They don't get exemptions because they're a massive studio. They're like only independent films can get like exemptions, and productions that were already underway sometimes can get an exemption. Like my wife's movie got one, but Lionsgate, they're too big, and the only studio that has agreed to all the terms of the strike is A24, which
did they?
Yep. They're the only ones who agreed to it. They're still making movies. They agreed to every single demand immediately. It was.
They're like, we got too many things. They make good movies, man. I'm kind of.
They do make good movies,
Yeah.
and like that was kind of the whole point. Is that all these enormous companies and enormous studios and production houses are completely against all of like Netflix and Amazon and all these places are completely against giving the writers and the actors what they want. But this small independent company was like, "Yep, we'll do it."
The big corporations are like, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, hey, at least The Rock made the biggest donation ever to SAG, from what I understand.
What?
What do you do?
Hey, wrote him a check for like $4 million.
Oh, I think I saw a clip of that.
That's completely mismanaged. Like SAG is one of the dumbest organizations, in my opinion. They mismanage funds constant, like any giant organization. They have thousands and thousands of members, and they mismanage funds all the time.
They mismanaged their own name. That's a horrible name.
Oh,
right. Well, and it's only 10% of what The Rock got for his last movie alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's virtue signaling on his part. But
speaking of Hollywood and virtue signaling, do you guys remember like early COVID, like when Tom Cruise was like, I feel like made it a point to be seen yelling at a dude that was like a gaffer or something on set.
Yelling at that dude, yeah.
Oh yeah, but I think he intentionally sought out to make a scene and to be filmed and to be heard so that he could put out early the like where the like kind of like celebrity bullshit like stands on it. You know what I mean? I think the whole thing was kind of stagey.
Interesting.
Yeah,
we're gonna get another strike on this episode.
Oh no,
Tom Cruise just gets a pass because he does a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah. It is interesting.
Start?
Like all these people who've been canceled, but Tom Cruise is still just chugging along, even though he's done some pretty heinous stuff over the years. It's an interesting one. He's
deep in the weirdness of Hollywood, man. Like really.
Yeah. But to be fair,
go ahead. I was gonna say Fortune Feimster in her latest stand-up. That's one of the things she opens with, talking about Tom Cruise.
Right.
And she's like, the craziest thing is I hear he does all his own Scientology.
That's a good joke. That's a good one.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm definitely gonna watch that.
I think the reason people like Tom Cruise so much is he generally, 99% of the times, does not inject politics or opinions into his movies. Mm-hmm. So he's always just there to please the audience and entertain them in whatever way he can.
And he understands who his audience is.
There you go.
I am
stays in his lane.
Disagree on a subtle level, right?
Shut your mouth, Alden.
No, hold on. You're both right and wrong, right? So like I think his movies on the surface don't. They're not like on the nose, like telling us what to do or whatever. But like Correct. This is like what I've talked to you. Like the other channel, one of the 8 channels that I have in the works that I want to start is about decoding, like deciphering the bullshit like symbolism in Hollywood. And his movies have a ton of like symbolic bullshit in his movies.
Well, yes. 100%, but like the point of art isn't to bash you over the head with ideas and like
no, I agree,
principles and all this crap. Like the one of the closest ones that got to that for me with Tom Cruise was the latest Top Gun, Maverick or whatever it was. It was literally just us versus Iran. It was like a veiled Cold War thing with Iran. It was ridiculous, but it was a great movie. It was really fun.
Yeah. It was a solid movie. I will give it that. I've seen it like 3 times already. Guilty.
Yeah,
but
that's because it's great.
But there also was a lot of like coded stuff in that, and like this gets into like weird, like kind of like occultic, cryptic nonsense or whatever. But like
wait.
The code names. What's that?
Go ahead.
The code names for like the call sign for something or one of the project names or whatever was like Dark Star and like all these different things or whatever. And anyway, like. It would take too long to get into all of it, but it was seeded in there. There's like a bunch of weird little things throughout that movie.
Are you telling me that the guy who believes in Scientology believes in some weird things?
Yeah.
Weird things in his movies?
Yeah. Not to rain on your parade, but I feel like it doesn't take a deep dive into occult symbolism to recognize that Top Gun Maverick is a massive piece of military propaganda. I feel like that only takes a surface level analysis.
That is the surface level. That is the surface level. Yeah, that's obvious to like a 9-year-old. Like, yeah, that one's very clear. So
why are you hanging out with 9-year-olds, Alden? That's weird.
Yeah, That's not Tom Cruise. What is that? Kevin Spacey or like who hangs with 9-year-olds? I don't even know.
That's a good
Never
question.
mind.
Epstein.
Too much dead air on that one.
Yeah, I was going to
Bill
say.
Gates?
Yeah. There we go. Bill Gates. Yeah. Bill Gates just injects them, though. He doesn't do anything else to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he injects them all right.
Gosh, we're definitely getting banned for this one.
I know. We're going to get 3 strikes on this one.
All right, y'all. It's that time. Here we go. All right. It is trivia time, everybody. Tonight, state history, presidential wars, and counterculture.
I'm finding out where my...
You have to cover the camera to answer. You got to do it faster than anybody else.
Where's my camera?
So just reach straight. Alden, you're so bad at reaching to the camera.
Just put the back of your hand on your face and go forward.
It works.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I thought I would be like low key doing that under the radar, but it caught a lot of attention. I'm sorry.
I'll pull up the rules. Y'all read through the rules real quick. Steven, can you just announce the rules real quick while I pull something up?
There we go. You're going to have to forgive me. I got my eyes dilated today at the eye doctor, so looks like I've been hanging out with Janet Yellen over in China. Every question is a free-for-all. The first contestant to cover their camera with their hand will be called by Jake to answer the question. If you blurt out an answer when it's not your turn, you lose 1 point. If a contestant answers, they cannot give another answer until all contestants have answered. The winner picks a topic to discuss on the following episode. So round 1, we got 10 questions, 1 point each. Round 2, 5 questions, 2 points each. Round 3, 3 questions, 3 points each.
Beautiful. Love it. All right. Yeah. Good job, Alden. That was a solid hit, man. Bravo.
Testing it.
Okay. Actually, we got to get the music going here. It's same thing every week. Nothing changes.
We've had that music every time.
Every time.
I don't remember this music at all.
We hadn't had it in a few weeks.
I've tried to find a better song, but like any song that I find is so repetitive. This one at least goes on for about 8 to 10 minutes and then repeats. So it's not as bad as many of the other ones. All right. Let's do this. All-time scoreboard. Zane has 3. Zane has 7. Nick has 3. The guests have won twice. Steve has 1. Audience has 1. And Alden is still at the bottom, though he did win 1.
Yeah, I'm tied, but I'll stay at the bottom. That's fine.
No, you're staying at the bottom because you're the last one to get there. All right. Round 1. This day in history. Let's do it. On this day in 79 AD, what massive Mediterranean volcano erupted? Zane.
Vesuvius.
Nailed it. Vesuvius. Sorry, got to... I never come fully prepared for trivia. I always fail to do this in
Which
advance.
they just unearthed some more stuff around there, too, saying that like it shed light on the life of the average peasant in that time, in that area.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in that in Pompeii that sheds life on the seedier side. So like there are signs that like apparently pointed to brothels, but they're very phallic signs. So the arrow
Did you know it was caused by climate change?
Right?
Did you say brothels are caused by climate change?
Yeah.
That too.
Everything is caused by climate change.
I think so. I heard that the other day. CNN said it. So it's
Nina Turner thought it too.
It's so hot, it just makes everybody more
Want to go inside where they get COVID.
There we go. That works. All right, next question.
Those aren't my words.
We're going to move on from this.
Okay.
On this day in 1949, which alliance was formed after the signing of a treaty 4 months earlier? Alden.
NATO.
Alden.
Hey.
Wrapping one up at the beginning. Bravo. I think that's the earliest you've ever gotten a question right, Alden. At least when I've been hosting. All right, next question. On this day in 2006, the world was outraged when Pluto was reclassified as what? Zane.
a dwarf planet.
Got it.
Are they going to have to rename that? I know that the word dwarf has kind of become un-PC in the past couple of years.
A small person planet.
No, they'll just put Peter Dinklage in a movie about the planet, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
I love when he was.
Question number 4. On this day in 1814, the British Army set fire to what building? Alden.
It's okay. It's now the White House, but do we need the original name or whatever?
No, it's the White House. What's the original name, Alden?
Well, that's what I was going to say is that there's several names. There was like the president's house, but then there was also like, I don't know. There was like three different things.
I think it used to be called the Executive Mansion.
Yeah, that was another name.
Wow.
But then Teddy Roosevelt renamed it because he thought that name was too snooty.
Yes, pretentious. You're 100%. Yes.
Don't let the people know. Yeah.
Or Chez Blanche.
Chez Blanche. Okay, next question. On this day in 1991, which European country gained its independence? Alden.
I have no idea. I just wanted to beat Zane, so I'm going to make something up. Scotland, even though
Wrong.
I think it's still not independent.
You calling me?
Steven, go.
Bosnia.
Wrong. Zane.
Latvia.
Wrong. Suhas.
Estonia.
Wrong. It's open back up. Y'all have 10 seconds. Alden. Alden, answer quicker. You can't just put your
Sweden.
hand up. Wrong. Steven.
No, I'm going to do it every time now.
Serbia.
Wrong. Zane.
Ukraine.
It is Ukraine.
Oh, dang it.
No way.
I knew it had to be one of the former USSR republics.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what
I just didn't know
Yugoslavia
which
turned
one.
into.
And I know, like, Estonia after the USSR, like, turned very libertarian in terms of its economic policy. So I thought you might have put that on there.
Yeah, they are the closest thing to our original constitution, from what I understand, in Europe.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, next question. On this day in 1989, which baseball player was banned from playing baseball and from induction into the Hall of Fame? Alden.
Pete Rose, and actually what's hilarious is I actually have a Pete Rose bat that just sits next to my desk like all the time here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this is just like...
That is so cool.
Is it actually his old bat?
Yeah, this is my dad's old bat that was just sitting next to... It's a series. It's stamped. It's not like signed or whatever.
Still,
but it's
that's got to be
from
worth some money, dude.
I don't know, probably $20. I don't know.
Let's go rob Alden. I know where he lives. Okay. All right, next question. On this day in 1821, Spain accepts the independence of which of their territories through the Treaty of Cordoba? Alden.
Mexico.
Oh my gosh. You got it right.
Wow.
Alden's crushing it today, y'all. All right.
It's in the wine,
Next question. It's in the sniffing of the wine, it looked like.
Yeah.
On this day in 410, an army was marched into Rome, symbolizing the end of the Roman Empire. Whose army was it? Zane.
The Vandals.
Wrong. Alden. I
The
think.
Spartans.
Wrong. Steven.
The Visigoths?
Visigoths.
Oh, nice. I
Alright.
don't even know this name, so I never would have got that.
Yeah. The chief was Alaric, for anybody who wants to know.
That's
Also, not one of
trivia.
these categories came from ChatGPT, by the way. These were all researched heavily by me. So,
All right.
yeah, here we go. On this day in 1875, Captain Matthew Webb was the first to swim across what body of water, Zane?
The English Channel.
Dang it.
Nailed it.
By the way, it's the first to swim across without a life preserver.
Okay, well, I think that's a given. If you swim across with a life preserver, you're a loser.
Lifesavers didn't come out to the 1940s, so
All right, I think, is this the final question? Yeah, final question of round one. On this day in 2014, which legendary English director, narrator, and lord died? Oh, Steven.
Robin Leach?
Nope.
He's still around, isn't he?
I think
Is
he's
John
still
Placie
around.
around?
John Cleese is still around, I believe. All right, I stumped y'all with this one. Okay, here's a hint. He's most known for his narration. Alden.
Is David Attenborough still alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then his brother.
Who's his brother?
I don't know.
There's
Something
the guy that said
Attenborough.
aluminium on all the
John
science videos in middle
Attenborough?
I can't give it to anybody. You all suck. It's Richard Attenborough.
Dang it!
You literally said his brother.
Yeah, isn't that his brother?
It is his brother. Yeah.
I named it then, kind of.
I'll give you half a point for that because you.
But all right.
You get half a point. It's Richard Attenborough.
I want to let my peers judge.
You got half the answer, so you get half a point.
I am. I'm telling you, it's Cabernet. That's the performance-enhancing drug.
All right. Give me 1 second. I got a draft. Yeah, I'm going to draft Perry.
What do you guys think? Do I get a point?
No, you don't get a point. You get half a point. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, half a point.
I make the rules. All right.
All right, I'll secure a tie-breaking point. Half point.
All right. Let's see. Next round, presidential wars. Who is the only president since World War II to not start or perpetuate an illegal war? Suhas.
Jimmy Carter.
That is correct. Jimmy Carter.
Thank you, Zane.
Suhas getting on the board.
No, Zane told me that he thinks that there's only one president, since World War II, like that should not be called a war criminal, and that was Jimmy Carter.
Hey, perfect.
I should have trusted my gut on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Just to remind y'all, if it is a number answer, you only get one round to vote. You only get one pick, and so after that pick goes, that's it. Okay?
7.
Perfect. You got it. How many countries have a United States military base within their borders? Zane.
90.
Steven.
192.
Alden.
106.
Suhas.
193.
Zane gets it right with 80.
Oh,
dang it.
750 international military bases as of this year.
It's not enough.
It's not. I think we definitely need more. All right.
Let's go for an even 1,000.
Yeah, it's less than half. I mean,
here we go. Who was the president who invaded Grenada, however you pronounce it. Zane.
Reagan.
Yeah, sorry, I can't find the button. There we go. Ronald Reagan.
War criminal.
A conservative hero who destabilized Central America.
Perfect.
Let me go on record and say Ronald Reagan is a war criminal.
All right, next question. What president illegally got us involved in the Dominican Civil War? Zane.
I feel like this is also Reagan.
Wrong. Suhas.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Wrong. I believe it was Steven next. Steven, did you raise your hand, Steven?
I did.
Okay.
And both of my guesses have already been named, so I'm just trying to think on my feet here. And Jimmy,
5.
No, not Jimmy Carter. It was
4.
Nixon.
Wrong. Alden, you get the guess.
George Bushy Sr.
Wrong.
Dang
All right,
it.
open back up for 10 seconds. Steven.
Bill Clinton.
No. Alden.
Eisenhower. I don't even know
You're
when
the
the
worst.
Civil War was.
Suhas.
William McKinley.
No. Zane.
Gerald Ford.
No. Y'all fail this one.
It's George Washington.
Even Grumpy Gnome got it wrong. It's LBJ.
Oh.
It's LBJ.
Why is that so funny?
There we
That
go.
shouldn't have been funny, but I love it.
Goodness gracious.
He
Okay.
ends up with Richard Peters, right? And Carlos Danger.
Did you guys hear the phone call of him like talking to his tailor about he needs new pants because his dick doesn't fit in his pants? Basically, like it's actually a hilarious phone call. Like
LBJ?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's like has a really long conversation about how his junk doesn't fit in the inseam or whatever. Like,
No, He was a weird dude. He had a custom shower built in the White House where he had like the main shower head and then another shower head for his member.
I'm telling you, it's like.
I mean, I like that. That sounds great.
Taft had to have a special bathtub built because he's a fat ass.
Can we say something about FDR, or is that going too far?
He swims in circles.
Gosh. All right. Final question of round 2. How many illegal wars and military actions have been started and or perpetuated since World War II? Alden.
21.
Zane.
30.
Steven.
17.
26.
26. Zane gets it. 33.
Of course.
Just to list them. Here we go. Korean War,
Masonic
Vietnam
number.
War, Laotian Civil War, Permesta Rebellion in Indonesia, Lebanon Crisis, Bay of Pigs invasion, Dominican Civil War, Korean DMZ conflict, Cambodian Civil War, intervention in Lebanon, I believe again, invasion of Grenada, bombing of Libya, tanker war in the Persian Gulf, invasion of Panama, Gulf War, Iraqi War, Somali Civil War, Bosnian War, Croatian War, intervention in Haiti, Kosovo War, war in Afghanistan, intervention in Yemen, Iraq War, war in Northwest Pakistan, Somali Civil War II, Operation Ocean Shield, war in Libya, Operation Observant Compass, intervention in Niger, intervention in Iraq, intervention in Syria, intervention in Libya.
No
So I
wonder
guess
we have so many war
So sending
criminals.
dirty bombs to Ukraine hasn't made it onto the list yet.
Not yet. This was updated. This list was updated earlier or maybe last year. I can't remember. Ukraine
We can't
should definitely be on here.
tarnish.
Either way, you won. Either way, you got it right. Suhas, what did you say? You had something?
I said no wonder we have so many war criminal presidents with this number of wars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. When I started
Like, how
looking into
many-
this, y'all, it's bonkers.
What's the average? Like, how many wars per president is this? It's insane.
Yeah, this is since World War II.
Yeah.
So we had 11 presidents since, or 13 presidents since FDR, or 14 now with Biden, and so that's like 2.3
3 at least per president.
Yeah.
But not Carter, though, so it bumps it up a little bit for the others.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right? Yep. Carter legit might be the best president of the last 100 years.
That's not a high bar though, Jake.
It's
Well,
not a high bar.
We have him to thank for homebrewing for sure.
Homebrewing,
Yes.
peanuts.
And deregulation of the airlines and the trucking industry, I believe.
Man, is this turning into a Jimmy Carter love fest?
Jimmy Carter, if you're listening from your hospice, we love you, sir.
All right. Round number 3 is counterculture. Zane, I forgot to add your points, buddy. All
You
right,
can forget. That's okay.
After 2 rounds, Zane has 10. Shocker. Alden has 4.5. Suhas has 2. Steven has 1. Audience has 0. All right. All right.
I did well on
we have
all
a yay
the
for Jimmy.
1
From
points.
Spencer.
That's my test.
Nice. Love it. Love it. All right. Round 3, 3 points each. Only 3 questions. Counterculture. Here we go. For the first time in history, 3 country songs are atop the Billboard 100. Name the 3 songs. Zane.
So 2 for sure are Richmond, North of Richmond, and Try That in a Small Town. I'm not
Richmond,
sure
north
about
of Richmond is correct. Try That in a Small Town is incorrect.
Okay, but I still get the third one, which I'm going to guess is Fast Car by Luke Combs.
You got 2. Alden.
I was not raising my hand. I was scratching my face because
okay.
I don't
Even.
know country songs. So.
Crap, I saw a picture of this guy today. So I knew the Luke Combs, I knew the Richmond, North of Richmond, and it's some little pipsqueak dude with a backwards hat that's not Luke Combs. I'm trying to think of, oh my gosh.
Snoop Dogg.
It's a
I
good
don't know.
song. I've got it playing a lot these days. All right. Your time's up. Suhas, you got a guess?
No, I know nothing about country music.
Is this current? Is this like this right now or something?
Right now.
Then I'm not going to know.
It's Billboard Top 100. It's a counterculture thing because of Richmond, north of Richmond. Zane.
Top 100 is
I don't know.
counterculture?
No, Top 100. It's the 3 that made it to the top.
Mhm.
The
How's
top
it
100.
counter?
The top 100 isn't counterculture. It's what the songs are freaking about. It's country music. It's Republican. It's like right-wing music compared
How do you have
to conservative music.
the most popular song in the country be counterculture? Like,
Well, unless it's
It's
Red Flag Tim
counterculture to the
McGraw.
culture that's been happening for the past 10 years, Alden.
it still sounds popular to me. I don't know.
I don't consider WAP to be counterculture. I do consider
There we go. Ben Shapiro's wife has entered the chat.
All right, the last one is Last Night by Morgan Wallen.
There we go. Gosh.
Who's Morgan Wallen?
He's a country singer, man. He's a really big country singer right now. So is Luke Combs. Oliver Anthony came out of literally nowhere. Oliver Anthony literally has put out maybe like 8 songs, and none of them are professionally recorded. Some of them are recorded outside in a field. And
those are some of my favorite songs.
Richmond, north of Richmond, hit the top 100 within 2 weeks of being released. And this guy doesn't have a label, doesn't have a manager, doesn't have anything.
I love it.
I heard that there were a couple labels that were offering him like contracts worth millions of dollars, and he turned them all down.
Gucci Mane is one of those guys. Gucci offered him a contract.
Uh-oh.
On his rap label.
Get out of here, Grumpy. Nobody wants to hear that.
That's what the liberals are saying right now. They're like, oh, well, look at all his backers. You got, this person, this person. It's all Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson people, and they're saying that he was foisted up by the conservative movement.
That's why, Alden, because it's not corporate pop music. That's why it's counterculture.
It's corporate country.
Just because it's the most listened to song doesn't mean it's not counterculture. It's the message of the song that is what makes it counterculture. It doesn't necessarily, just because something's popular doesn't mean that it's in line with the current dominant culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because the current dominant culture is not that song. I guarantee you that.
No, I hear you.
All right. Next question. Otherwise, I'm going to strangle Alden if we keep talking about this. Sound of Freedom was the #1 movie in America on what date? Zane.
July 4th.
You got it. July 4th. Y'all, this is a runaway train with Zane here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm right on his heels here.
Well, last week, we just got to the point where we were just cheering him on. All right, Zane, good job, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, final question. It's a difficult one, so enjoy this. Here we go. And it probably will confuse you.
Great.
What are the 4 saleable principles that make Bitcoin a unique type of currency? It's saleable over Zane.
All right, this is something that I know that Shane says all the time, which I think is the only reason why I'm going to get any of these. It's like saleable over like space, scale, time, and
my dead body.
I don't think I can't remember the 4th one.
The 4th one is the most confusing one because of how it's said. No, anybody want to try to guess the 4th one?
Immutability?
No.
Okay.
Dwarf planets.
I was trying to remember what immutability meant.
I was trying to remember what saleable meant.
All right. Time, sales, which is liquidity, space, and scale. Those are the 4. And yes, I literally had to go back and watch my documentary to get this question.
Can you
find the clip?
Can you please tell Shane to stop saying that Bitcoin is saleable over sales?
Yeah, it makes it very confusing. It's tough.
If you're watching this, Shane, I love your messaging. You're awesome, but maybe don't say that. Of course, now he's gonna find out where I live and come beat me up. So
he's at the nursing home helping Jimmy Carter establish his Bitcoin wallet.
They're developing together Peanut Coin.
All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for playing Libations Trivia. Our final score: Zane 17, Alden 4.5, Suhas 2, Steven 1, and the audience got a big goose egg this week. That rarely happens. Normally they get at least 1, but not this week.
I'll take silver.
There we go. Let's go back into regularly scheduled programming. All right, Zane, or not Zane, sorry, Zach. Do we got any news? Actually, let me pull up just what is going on real quick.
And I'll give a shout out to Omaha Brewing for their social distance IPA, which I thought would be kind of apt for the evening.
No, I forgot to play one clip Dadgummit, I wanted Alden to be here for it. What's that IPA? Who made it? What's going on?
This is Omaha Brewing. Friend of the show.
We have a mugshot. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay. Well, let's not play it just yet. We're going to pull up Trump stuff here in a minute because that's pretty big news for today. But I just want Alden to be here when I play this. Ian Crossland reacting to potential mask mandates. I meant to play this earlier. I don't know if any of y'all saw this, but it's great. Do y'all know who Ian Crossland is?
No.
He's on
the guy from Timcast,
Pool.
right?
Yeah, he's on Tim Pool's show. He's a regular cast member, and he's very similar to Alden in that he's oh boy, super like metaphysical kind of like
the hippie dude with the glasses.
Yes, the hippie dude with the glasses.
Okay.
All right. So here we go, Alden. This is I meant to share this earlier, and I want you and this guy to interact at some point, Alden.
Okay. I'm scared.
Let me find it. There we go. This is Ian Crossland reacting to potential mask mandates.
Maybe. No.
Everybody's holding breath.
He is like the least. Oh shoot! Did y'all not see it?
No, it just came up on the screen.
Okay, that's my bad.
That is the recipe to destroy your country, is to shut it down. Don't do that again. And don't make people put fucking dirty masks on. Nice. I'm sick of it, man. I'm fucking sick of it. I will not do it again. That is
so he's generally a pretty calm and relaxed guy.
Really?
Yes. He's very chill, mellow, sees the best in everyone, and like just tries to find the positive side of everything. And man, he was not about those new mask mandates that might be coming down the pike.
That's honestly how like I feel inside, and I try to keep it together for the world.
Yeah.
But like
you could see him try to keep it together at the end. He was like, "I'm going off the rails." And just
not again.
Brought it back.
Not again. Yeah, I feel you, brother. It's okay.
All
So
right.
I want to bring up a point too. So by the metrics we established earlier, how Jimmy Carter is one of the best presidents
by the peaceful metric. Yeah.
So is Joe Biden on this measure. He's done more than any other president to destroy the petrodollar since it was established, and he might actually succeed. He might win. He might succeed in this because we got the BRICS nations are trying to expand.
Yep.
They already have 40% of the world's population and the vast majority of the world's gold supply. They have some OPEC nations involved, so they've got the resources.
I mean, Xi just went to South Africa.
That's right. I mean, well, the Durban Accords. I mean, they just met yesterday. They're still meeting, I think, trying to establish this gold-backed global dollar that would be a reserve currency.
Wow.
And they're doing it because they hate us.
Well, I mean, you got to give it to Biden. He's doing something good.
Right?
I freaking love it. That's
never
great.
thought he would be a libertarian hero. You know?
Which Biden did it though? Like connected earlobe Biden or disconnected earlobe Biden?
All three of them actually.
It's three that did it.
Yeah, and forehead wrinkle Biden.
That's the only way he was able to do. He needed help, you know.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, our main topic for tonight is President Trump arriving in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia. It's kind of crazy that Georgia is the center of attention for this ridiculous scandal. But we are, and this is his jet landing. Zach, go ahead and take over for me, bud. Let's pull up that mugshot.
He looks pissed.
So here's the question. The liberals, the left, all the Democrats have been wanting this picture since like day one. Do you think they're satisfied with this, or does this just invoke terror inside?
I feel like he's looking into my soul right now.
Why are his eyes redder than they should be?
Right.
It looks like
Eyes are
he was
redder than his
doing
face.
pills before the photo or something. Like,
I would love to hear Richard Attenborough's voice say, "And behold, the Eastern New York horned toad."
Somebody needs to use this as an album cover.
I'm sure
That's
some
awesome.
rapper will do that. I don't know. Has anybody seen any of the stuff going on around Atlanta today? Because I've seen a bunch of some people protesting, some people there cheering, some people. I've seen a whole bunch of different news. Anybody got anything specific?
I've got some buddies up there that are there to observe and report, kind of thing. But I hadn't really gotten any updates just yet. I just kind of said, Godspeed, keep your head on a swivel. Do not expect the Fulton County Sheriff to uphold the Constitution.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think that's a safe bet.
I mean, the fact that they've had 3 people die in their jail in the last 4 weeks, pretty much.
Right.
is it 3 now?
Yeah, one of them was there for shoplifting, and one of them was there on a misdemeanor bench warrant. So, you failed to report to probation.
And they got the death penalty.
And this guy tried to incite an insurrection. So, what are they going to do
How
to
dare
him?
he?
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think this does for the next election as far as voter turnout in Georgia? Does it bring more people out to the polls to vote in Georgia? Does it put more of a spotlight on our state?
Oh, this milkshake is for sure bringing the boys to the yard. I can guarantee you that, brother.
Were you saying something too, Suhas? Or?
Yeah, I think this will definitely boost, support among, Trump voters and try to boost turnout. We did have a presidential candidate before run from jail. His name was Eugene Debs, and he ended up getting 5 million votes with almost no recognition in the media. So I think it's quite possible that Trump can get more votes and actually his polling numbers have been gaining ever since, with SEC indictments have been going on against DeSantis. So I think he's actually going to gain in popularity.
Yeah, it's the publicity is. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I just the attacking your political opponent like this, and it almost makes me want to vote for Trump just to be screw you, Biden. Come on, man. Doing this is such a mistake unless their goal is just CNN, MSNBC, all these people to make money.
Unless their goal is to, instead of promote another healthier, better idea, but to actually cause more of a rift in the country and polarize even further between the two parties, which I think is one of the main tools of media. But
well, that's one thing they are doing is they're driving a wedge in the Republican Party. So after the wake of the first debate last night, that's one of the things that you're hearing a lot of, even amongst the so-called neutral or even the libertarian leaning talk show hosts. Because I listened to a bunch of them today, and what they're talking about is that you got Nikki Haley has this certain thing that's good about her. Ramaswamy, aside from the impressment, has this good thing going for him. Chris Christie is even scoring points. I guess he's tired of buying fudge rounds with EBT cards. So he's getting back into politics. So it's just you've got all these other angles going at the same time Trump is moving, and now you have the mainstream Republican channels, like Fox News, because after Roger Ailes left, the kids don't want to keep pushing that narrative. So this whole fair and balanced narrative is it's shifting left as well. So really, I mean, the only conservative outlets that you have left are Newsmax and OAN. Those are the only ones that are still diehard Trump fans. Other than that, the other conservative outlets, so-called, are pushing the other candidates. So the more they throw Trump out in the spotlight, he's got a majority of the votes, all that kind of stuff. But if they can make him have a heart attack, or if they can make him slip up, or if they can just do something just to piss off one of his demographics, and you slip in the polls a little bit, they can split the Republican Party, and that's how they win.
I think what they really would like is for him to enter some kind of plea deal where part of it is he agrees to not seek public office again. Or I'd have to look into this, but there might be some crimes where if you get convicted of them, you can't run for office anymore. But yeah, just throwing him. What was that?
I said there definitely is. I don't remember which crime though.
Yeah, so just throwing him in jail is not going to do the trick for them. Any step that they take in terms of indicting him or even arrested or like even convicting him, I think will just increase his support. They have to be trying to get some way to prevent him from running at all, or else this whole thing is just going to make even more people like Trump.
But, here around Atlanta, I mean, we have an established history of politicians winning re-election from jail, a la Sheriff Victor Hill in Clayton County.
That's such a great tradition. Let's keep that one going.
There you go. ATL, baby.
So I think his bail, according to a report I heard like yesterday, the judge was going to set it at like $250,000. How quickly is he already out? Do we know, Zach? Do we know if he's already out of jail? Like, did he just get a mugshot, pay bail, and leave?
I think Putin paid his bail. Yeah.
with Prigozhin stolen
back.
account.
What's that, Zach?
He's on his way back to New Jersey right now.
Okay, so he spent 0 time in jail. It's just like, what's the point? Of the rigmarole of that.
I
just don't get it.
Honestly, just making him fly down on his private jet just to take a photo is absurd. Like, think of the carbon footprint of this. Like, oh my God, it's an outrage.
Gosh, that's the angle we should be taking.
Yeah.
It caused a disaster in Maui.
It's just a weird situation. Like, I was going to say, how long could he run his campaign from in jail? And how entertaining would that campaign be?
Steve, T.I. shot a music video.
What's that, Zach?
Go ahead, Zane.
No, I was saying, Steve, you keep talking about how people have like released entire albums from the Fulton County jail
and then walked out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, the generation of United Nortinos was over in California. That was the early 2000s. The entire leadership of this gang was in Supermax prison, and the numbers of the gang tripled, and they had 2 platinum albums on the market at the same time. These guys are recording albums from a Supermax. Like, how is that?
So he could probably.
Is that the one that also had billboards and stuff up around town?
Yes. Yes. There were like entire like RICO cases that were taken off their YouTube comment section.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
and
because I went and watched I was watching one of the videos because it was a good song. It was a banger, and the comment section even said, "This comment section has been commandeered by the FBI under investigation. So and so subsection this and that." I was like, "What in the world? These guys are in Supermax." And like,
so, rather than taking it down, YouTube takes stuff down all the time. They didn't take down that music video, but they.
Right. And I still saw a commercial for Lever 2000 body soap. So they were monetized.
It's just the American dream at its finest.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I was talking about T.I. The rapper T.I. He shot a music video from Fulton County Jail, hung the deuces at the end, walked out, and then it was like a big story. It was like, oh, he was supposed to come back in, and he didn't. and they left the music playing, and the guards were too busy dancing to like round him back up.
Goodness gracious!
Yeah.
Right. Well,
in other news, the Steelers are whooping on Georgia's Dirty Birds right now, 24-0 at the half. I'm just saying.
It's the preseason. Nothing is more pointless in life than the NFL preseason.
Also, being an Atlanta Falcons fan, there's nothing more pointless than that.
Well, especially now that they closed the CNN Center, because at least like that gave you a clean place to go take a dump and get a cheap beer before you went to the game. And now that they're leaving, like, really, what's the point?
You just have to poop on the bleachers, like everyone else.
Yeah, like everyone else. But their beer in the stadium is not that expensive. Like,
it's not that bad, but
stadiums, it's very reasonable.
It's recycled.
Like at the Cowboys
CNN Center,
like
you could go there $30 and get half tanked and have a whole meal.
That's pretty great. Did any of y'all watch the debate last night?
I did.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I've seen bits and pieces.
Did you have any thoughts on what happened last night?
Yeah, so I thought like the moment that stood out to me the most was certainly whenever they asked, like, do you support withdrawing money from Ukraine? And Ramaswamy was like the only person to hold his hand up. And I was like,
Immediately.
I was like, hell yeah. Like, I mean, all the other candidates, including DeSantis, I would even say to some extent, are complete neocons. Especially people like Mike Pence, Chris Christie, and Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley's like, Israel doesn't need America. America needs Israel.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
was horrible.
what are you talking about? Our military budget's like 50 times bigger than Israel. We don't need Israel at all.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. She did okay on some questions, but man, she is not great. And then Chris Christie, that dude's a moron.
He's 4% in the polls. We now know at least that 4% of GOP voters have low IQs. Like,
it's unbelievable. And that guy's useless too.
What do you think is higher, Chris Christie's poll numbers or his percent muscle mass?
Oh god,
that's a good question. That's a tough one. I don't even know. I don't know what a normal person's muscle mass is.
Defending Ukraine by his body, the missiles would bounce right off of him.
Man, yeah, the debate was interesting. Ramaswamy definitely destroyed everybody. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, DeSantis said some of the dumbest things. He just, he came out as a full-on neocon.
If you get
no good things about him.
Anytime I've seen him talk for longer than 2 minutes, it gets weird, honestly, with him. Like, it eventually gets strange.
I've heard recently that he's on the spectrum, which would make sense. He has awkward social interactions. He's not good with people.
Relatable.
What was the governor?
Sounds like a libertarian meetup.
Why isn't he a libertarian?
Wasn't in Florida Rick Scott before him or whatever, and he was like a similar story whenever he would get up to address people like during a hurricane or whatever. It was like he needed help to speak. It was really bad. So Florida has like a history of this. I think I blame the schools in Florida or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
Another moment that stood out to me was whenever like Vivek was talking about all the departments that he was going to abolish, like the IRS, the FBI, education, commerce. I was thinking, man, Rick Perry can't even name 3. This man named more than 3.
That's fair.
I was shocked that Ramaswamy got booze a couple times, which was interesting. Because he wasn't saying it was funny because I think there was a massive crowd. They were pretty raucous. They were booing and screaming and cheering at like
climate change agenda. Yeah, that's what he said, and the crowd just booed at him.
Yes,
he didn't say climate change. He said the agenda.
Yes, and the amount of like Republican candidates that are completely on board with the climate change crap is unbelievable. It was the perfect representation of conservatives, or like Republicans are just liberals driving the speed limit or whatever. Like, basically, at some point, they're going to be climate change activists. You know, the further it gets pushed, Republicans will just end up being exactly what the Democrats are today.
Well, because they already have the model to monetize the restrictions. You know, these rules go into place, and we know, because there's been comprehensive studies done now, that there's a plurality of the companies that have a positive ESG rating are not graded on their carbon footprint.
Anytime the Republicans and the Democrats
they know this, and so they're like, yeah, put them in place. Give me that government money.
Wow.
If we ever agree on anything, and if ever anything is written and made into law quickly or whatever, I am the most dubious. Like the Patriot Act, for instance, is one that comes to mind for like, do you know how many here's a trivia question. How many fucking pages long is the Patriot Act?
Isn't it like 2,000 pages?
Billion.
It's hundreds of pages, and there has then been added to it and over the years or whatever, and it came out like a week after. There's no fucking way. Anyway, you give me long enough, I'll just bring it to 9/11 every episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was one of those things that, you know, Dennis Prager was hitting hard on that. That and all the omnibus bills. You know, what's your favorite part? Oh, I can't really tell you. Okay, well, which part did you author? Oh, not really sure of that either. You know,
I mean, that's how it goes.
But you voted yes.
What's your favorite Bible verse? All of them. Like,
all of them.
Yeah. Oh my God. Have you seen? Oh my God. Who was it? It was Jamie Foxx's Trump impression. was so on point. It was amazing.
That dude is utterly talented. It was unbelievable. You would have thought it was Trump.
He did the same thing, like the Bible verse thing, where someone asked him, like, "What's your favorite death row album?" And he's like, "All of them." Like, he did such a good job. Like, not only the sound, but like his style of answer. He became Trump. It was awesome.
Which pretty great.
Death Row Records, don't they own Hasbro, which is the Transformers?
Do they really?
Or there's a holding company that owns both of them, or something like that. Like, I
Based
remember
out
seeing
of-
an article that Death Row Records is now tied to the Transformers somehow. Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Explain why that matters. Why did that just pop out of your mouth, Steven?
I was just random topic.
Truly random trivia.
Yeah. I can just see Suge Knight in his prison cell, just like, yeah, watch that new Transformers movie.
The times when we agree, like, I get skeptical, and then to tie it into what we were talking about earlier with the media, and usually it's so polarizing, and then like be careful about when we agree on something, because that's when shit gets weird, honestly.
Yeah.
That's when your freedoms are about to get taken away or whatever. Like, it's
Jack,
really bad.
I don't know if y'all follow Jack Lloyd on Instagram or Twitter or anything, but he's very much against all of this libertarian promoting of RFK and Ramaswamy, because they do make good points, and I don't completely agree with what Jack Lloyd said. He basically said these are not principled people, do not promote them. Like, he basically made a case for we should not be glorifying any of these people that are currently running. But I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. I obviously don't believe in voting for the lesser of two evils, but I think when certain people are like bringing certain topics out to the forefront and attacking things in ways that we never see, I think it's probably a good thing to at least try to push them out into the world so more people hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I completely agree, Jake. I mean, I'm always reminded by the quote that Thomas Sowell said, which is, life does not ask us what we want. It only presents us with options. And so it's like, yeah, obviously none of these candidates are ideal. And Ron Paul, would probably be better than any of these people. But out of all the options that we have to pick the best one. And so right now it seems like Ramaswamy is better than like all the other mainstream candidates.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Well, and then the worst part about everything he's been talking about so far to me is the whole conscription thing. The mandated military service as a way to boost patriotism, but that requires legislation. So,
Steve, I actually want to clarify a little bit on that point, because I too am not a big fan of his policy, and I was going to I asked him a question about that policy when I was at PorkFest and he came to speak, but I looked into his platform, and so because the crux of it is putting in an additional requirement for being able to vote before you reach age 5, and the one that everybody has been teasing onto is like the military service part, but everybody is forgetting that the other part of his proposal is that you could also just take a basic civics test and also be able to vote that way. And I feel like 99% of people who were interested in being able to vote before age 25 would just take the test instead of radically alter their life by joining the military. So again, I don't think that it's a good policy, because I don't think that we should be making any encouragement for anybody to join up with the military industrial complex. But I would not really describe it as conscription because of the option to take a really easy civics test.
There's an opt-out, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he does have some terrible thoughts, and like I know that
who doesn't?
He was, Ramaswamy was
have some
terrible. I have great thoughts all the time. I have the best thoughts.
Just ask anybody.
He wasn't great with vaccines, and he did run a pharmaceutical company, or does still, and he's definitely not the best. Can he beat Trump? I don't know. Probably not, unless something really bad happens to Trump. I feel like I think it was on Timcast yesterday. They were saying that somebody commented, it was from a super chatter, that Ramaswamy was the Bruce Banner to Donald Trump's Hulk if they ran on the same ticket, which I thought Trump comes in and just rattles everything up. and then Ramaswamy is just like boom, boom, like he has the actual plan for how to get things done, and Trump is just like a bull in a china shop, which I thought was interesting.
Wasn't that Steve Bannon at one time?
Yeah,
but Steve Bannon wasn't likable. Steve Bannon's a twat.
Yeah, he's terrible. One of the other problems I have with Ramaswamy is he said reform the Fed. I wish he would change that from reform to abolish. I don't think he's going far enough on Fed policy.
I agree. Completely agree. I was actually shocked because I thought he was leaning towards abolishing the Fed in some podcasts that I listened to him in. But man, that was
maybe he's being careful depending on his audience. You know what I mean? But
let's see. Kenneth says, seems like both Democratic and Republican voters love a political outsider until their party puts in an establishment candidate and the only outsider on the ballot is Libertarian. Let's just shout this out real quick. Kenny Blevins is running for Oklahoma Libertarian for U.S. Senate. Love it.
Nice.
Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for watching the show, Kenneth. We appreciate it, man. And if you ever want to come on this show and promote your campaign and, talk to us about the nonsense that we talk about, you're more than welcome to, my man.
Yeah, you can come on the show and promote your campaign to our listener.
What? Zane, don't downplay the literally tens of listeners that we have. I don't know. We're growing, still a new thing. 2-hour late night show with a bunch of dum-dums is not the easiest thing for everybody to stomach. So we gotta start somewhere.
I can barely stomach it. So,
well, I mean, we compete with Thursday Night Football, and then before that it was Diablo 4 coming out. So,
I'm watching Thursday Night Football.
I feel like most of our audience would be watching Timcast, or at least a good portion of our audience, and I think they're on every single night at this time. So, that cancels out a whole bunch of people that would potentially be our viewership. All right. Did anybody watch the Trump interview with Tucker that was going on?
I watched part of the RFK one with Tucker, though.
Interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. It was hilarious. So the debate started at, I think it was like 7 or 8 p.m., 7 p.m. somewhere. And the Tucker and Trump thing started at 7:55. So 5 minutes before. Like 5 minutes before they got all.
That's poaching.
It got 178 million views.
Oh my
wow.
God.
Yeah, I did not.
Oh my God.
178 million views.
A lot.
I watched it. I don't care for Trump, but he just seemed likable in that interview. I just hate it. Like it was a very interesting interview. I would advise everybody. I would suggest everybody go watch it, or at least clips of it. He had some interesting things to say. He wasn't too insane. He wasn't too brash. He was pretty. He only insulted a few people, which is interesting.
That's a record low for an interview with him.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Interesting. I'm surprised none of y'all watched any of it. I mean, it was obviously the biggest thing on Twitter or X.
Yeah,
we just keep calling it Twitter.
It's Twitter. I was too busy brushing up on fantasy football stuff here before I had to put my keepers in. So priorities.
That's fair. Grumpy, I know which part of that interview you're talking about. I don't know that was what I got from it. I think he said at this point he thinks he may have, but he doesn't know for sure. Is basically what I got from it. Mm-hmm. And Grumpy, what's your beef with Tim Pool? I love watching Tim Pool.
He's okay. I don't know.
Shut up. Tim Pool himself is fine. He's not great on a bunch of things, but a lot of his guests are awesome. I mean, he's got Dave Smith on there regularly. He's got
right.
Got Michael Malice on there. So I like watching his show. Him as his own political opinions and stuff. I could take it or leave it.
This is very similar to saying something about any show where it's like Joe Rogan. It's like I don't really care that much about Joe Rogan, but he gets hella guests.
That's it. Everybody always is like, "Oh, Joe Rogan told you to do that." Well, no, his freaking awesome expert guest
who's been studying mushrooms for 50 years or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Joshua Smith is coming on soon and going to promote the LP. All right. That's cool.
Right on.
All right. We got anything else to say about Trump? What's happening in Atlanta? Anything like that before we move on to the final topic of the night?
What were some of the big takeaways from his Tucker interview, other than he just seemed to even keel? I mean, was he scoring any points? Saying anything good? Was he doubling down? Because I know, like, during the lockdowns, he was talking about abolishing the Fed. Yeah, that's kind of what he campaigned on.
Yeah. Speaking of scoring points,
there was a series of executive orders, and then there was even some COVID emergency legislation that gave him de facto control over the Treasury Department while he was president. But that stuff remained in place, and then it passed on to Joe Biden, and now we see what happened. I mean, also, hooray, he killed the petrodollar, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing he said, like Tucker asked him about, like, what is he running on this time? And he said the number one issue is still the daggum border wall. So, like, that was a horrendous first answer.
That's not a good start. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not.
No, like, his number one issue is the border wall. Who gives a crap? And he started talking about it like it was some great feat. We built 500 miles of border wall, and we'll build the rest, and all this.
So garbage. All they have to do is go around.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, the wall's being built to keep us in.
Yeah, I don't like.
That's pretty funny.
I don't like walls.
Yeah, so I mean that was like right off the bat he led with that, which was not, no one wants to hear that. Even his supporters don't want to hear that. No one gives a crap about the border wall anymore. I mean, there are a few people who are freaking out about fentanyl and all that stuff, but like, if you're freaking out about fentanyl, then Ramaswamy would be your guy because he wants to start a war with the cartels.
You know what? You know what would make fentanyl less of a problem? Honestly, if you just would decriminalize most drugs, and then you wouldn't have people dying from fentanyl because they would get 100%. What they thought they had. Like,
turn the ATF into a superstore, and the DEA. Turn the DEA and the ATF into a superstore where you don't have to show your cartel card to get in the entrance.
Just sell right out of the evidence room, Yeah.
I feel like most of that evidence will be laced with fentanyl.
Oh, that's fair, actually. Yeah. Don't use that stash. That's
don't use the ones that've been confiscated. That's a bad idea. I don't know if I had any real like takeaways. I don't like. He's Trump. Like, he's going to do the exact same thing he did last time.
He's very consistent in that. Yeah, he's a brand guy, man.
Yeah. He's not going to change anything. He's not going to clean house this time. He's not reliable in any way, shape, or form to do exactly what he says he's going to do. Like,
he's consistently inconsistent. Like, yeah.
But the reason I said it made me like kind of like him is like I'd go have a beer with him. It's the George Bush thing. It's like, I'd go have a beer with Trump.
I'd have a beer with him if he's buying, yeah. Did you watch the RFK one with Tucker?
I've not watched the RFK one yet, or the Ramaswamy one.
I'm halfway through that one. I would guess it's more interesting. Like, there's more being covered on that one. It's actually
RFK is a
good
critical
watch.
thinker.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have people who actually think for themselves and can form full, complex sentences.
Yeah. It takes a minute, but he gets
Ramaswamy with Nigel Farage.
I haven't watched that one yet. No.
Yeah. He made very similar points to the debate, and they mainly talk about climate change the whole time. And I was like, this is like the man, like, out of all the other candidates that would actually, reduce government spending. Like, it's probably still unlikely with, based on the history of the GOP, but out of all the other GOP candidates, he'd probably be the most likely.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's like he's the only candidate I've ever seen that goes beyond, I'm going to cut spending, because they all say they're going to cut spending, but then they have no plan.
Yeah,
I am at least somewhat impressed by Vivek actually like knowing all of the like laws that give him the power to drastically reduce all these agencies. And he said at PorkFest, all the agencies that he can't outright eliminate, he's going to try to move the offices to unpleasant locations to try and make people quit.
That's pretty great. I like that.
So this is what kind of makes me think that he's not just a complete grift, because he's thought through a lot of this. Where this would be a very high effort grift if it were a grift.
A very high effort grift. Spending a lot of his own money too.
It's a long grift, yeah.
I'm far from the first person to make this point, but the thing that's so infuriating about Trump was like when he became president, His job was to have read one book, to have known one thing about how the government works and how to govern, and he didn't do any of that. So he spent his entire presidency appointing people that he obviously should have known were just undermining him the entire time.
Well, Trump did at least put what's her face over the Department of Education.
Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, the blonde that would sit cross-legged with her shoes on the couch and tweet. Yeah,
fair.
He at least put her in there.
Yeah. So once again, back to the Jack Lloyd thing. Like, and there are a bunch of libertarians saying stop promoting RFK and stop promoting Ramaswamy. One of the other reasons I think that is an incorrect stance at this stage. I would never promote RFK if he actually gets the candidacy, like if he's the actual candidate. Or the actual nominee. Sorry, if he's the actual nominee for the Democratic Party, I would never promote Ramaswamy once he is the Republican nominee. I think you're highlighting somebody who could take down two of the worst people that could be in the job, and so at the very least, you're gaining a little footing by promoting these people who do have some good ideas and aren't as horrific as all the other establishment candidates that are out there.
I would even semantically sort of change the structure of what you're saying to, instead of promoting people with good ideas, just promote good ideas. And it might happen to be that some people have fucking more of them. I think it's okay to highlight good ideas. I don't care where they come from.
Yeah.
Well, then we would have Austin Peterson as a senator and not Josh Hawley.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the idea of just like, thoughts for thought's sake or whatever. And then when the dust settles and you look at who has like a collection of more better thoughts, it's like, okay, then vote for them or whatever. But I really wish that we would get away from attaching thoughts to persons so much, you know what I mean? Because this gets into like the concept of like idolizing, or the opposite of like pushing away someone entirely. Really, this reminds me of the thing that we highlighted. I don't know if you were here for this, Jake, like the week where, or I threw it up in the chat where Trump was talking about like, anything that Trump says is bad, basically. And then when Trump says a good thing, like, oh yeah, I think that maybe it would be better for us to not be, involved in the war in Ukraine, or for that to end so people stop dying. And somehow that gets pushed back, and it's like, no, wait, hold on. I'm not a Trump fan, but I would like for people to stop dying too. Like I feel like that idea by itself can stand alone. But we can't not attach it to him. And that's the problem, again, with the media, that gets you to attach people and is like good or bad. And it's like, and then someone will say, anyway, it gets into a whole thing.
Well, and PragerU made a whole bunch of money on a series of videos going around, various places in public and college campuses. And he would take Abraham Lincoln quotes and say, Donald Trump said it. And they'd be like, I hate that. I disagree with that. And he was like, well, actually, Abraham Lincoln said it, not Donald Trump. And they'd be like, that's actually pretty cool then.
Or something that has some weird amount of sense, and then it's like it came from like an SS officer or something. It's like, be careful, like that you supported that, it can go both ways. Like,
nice. Let's see, back a little bit. Kenneth said he was in Georgia for the 2020 presidential debates. You guys got to witness my first time public speaking. Was I at the 2020? I don't think I was there for that one. Were any of us there for that one? I know Alden wasn't.
I live 5 minutes from Georgia only just recently. Yeah.
Steve, were you at the 2020?
I was not. I was watching it. I wasn't there, but
interesting. All right, Kenneth, we didn't witness that. Apologies.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, that fell flat. I'm sorry.
My bad. All right. Well, if we've got nothing else to say about all the dum-dums running to rule our country, let's move on to a dum-dum who died today or yesterday or whenever it was. Zach, you still there? Let's do it. Here we go. Yevgeny Prigozhin and Dmitry Utkin, I don't know, have been identified among the corpses collected from the crash site of the plane shot down by Russian air defense missiles near Moscow, Russia. Separately, Vladimir Orsechkin confirms through his own sources that Prigozhin and Yukin are dead.
Ooh.
That's how you say his name?
I guess so.
This is not going to be very well tolerated, because Prigozhin was just he was just dropping some hard recruitment videos from Niger, talking about how Russia is maintaining stability and advancing freedom all around the world, specifically in Africa. And they were starting to make headway, and it looks like, with their allegiance with the BRICS nations and the Durban Accords coming up this week, it looks like they were actually, Russian imperialism was on the move again, is what it really started to feel like. Because they had, they have the narrative of being on the holy side right now. Because
so then, what are the odds that it wasn't shot down by Russian military?
Pretty high, considering there was a second plane that's owned by Prigozhin that was still in the air at the time this went down. That was over Moscow and landed safely.
Interesting. So, I mean, my head immediately goes to conspiracy theory of United States, Ukraine, NATO, somebody shooting it down with Russian equipment.
Right. While the BRICS nations are meeting, trying to expand, while they're gaining points in African nations, Russian imperialism is on the move. They have totally subrogated our SWIFT system. They've gotten under that. They've gotten around it. They've proven that they can actually flourish without using the American dollar. Because their economy for the last 8 months at least has been completely devoid of the American dollar, and their GDP is higher than it's been in 20 years.
Wow. Gosh, it's almost like we should go off the dollar or something.
Amen. Amen.
Oh, man, that sounds so good.
Yeah. So it's just, there's a lot of, I don't know how the dots connect. There's a lot of dots that just, there's many ways they can connect that just say that, we're not the good guys in this. And they're kicking our ass right now.
So it's known, though, that it was shot down.
Yeah.
But it's not known who shot it down. Is that where we're at with it?
So what they've gathered is, I read an article saying that a lot of the shrapnel from the missile is Russian metal from a Russian missile.
So it wasn't a black hole that got this particular plane.
Correct. Yeah, it was no black hole. John Lemon to be disappointed.
Yeah.
It wasn't a black hole.
That was my first thought, though.
Yeah. So it was not MH370.
Yeah.
You also got to take, it's so frustrating in this age of information. You never know what's actually real. Who knows? They're reporting that someone told someone that it was Prigozhin. Who the frick? He'll be alive. We don't freaking know.
Turns out it was a 12-year-old girl's skeleton or something.
Let's not. I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible.
Well, that was Hitler.
Hitler. Honestly,
it was an adolescent female that was pulled out of Hitler's bunker.
That was literally what I was referencing with this. Exactly. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Gets it. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not as deep into the insanity that you are, Alden. It's my bad.
I'm glad I've got Steven here to get my references. Yeah. Cheers, boss.
With all the stuff that they've told us about the Ukraine war, it's like, how can you trust anything that is said through a normal channel without a ton of verified sources? So,
especially with the amount of people that die in planes. Apparently, I thought these were supposed to be safer than cars, and wasn't it? Pick a person, but I think it was JFK Jr. that was another one that died in a plane crash. Yeah.
So, moral of the story for Prigozhin, don't fly Lufthansa.
No, Lufthansa is a great airline. What are you talking about?
No, it's not.
They're known for their pilots ramming down into the mountains. What are you talking about?
I'm kidding. Relax. They're a budget airline. Give me a break.
Any yellow airline, it's no, don't do it.
And also Spirit.
Is Lufthansa yellow or are they blue now?
Spirit's yellow. Lufthansa has yellow in their logo.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, but Turkish Air has yellow in their logo too, and Turkish Air is incredible.
All right, never mind.
Yeah,
the Middle Eastern airlines are phenomenal.
Yeah, Turkish Air, they know how to do it. It's almost a budget airline in that it's super cheap, but you get pampered, man. You get free alcohol, free meals, all sorts of stuff. And
Turkish planes and Norwegian cruise ships, man. Yeah,
there we go.
Oh yeah, my wife follows a couple on Instagram that they stack up credit card points, and twice a year they take first class flights across the planet. And dude's kicked back in a recliner. He's getting this awesome catered meal. Yeah. He's getting drunk. He's taking naps, and it looks awesome.
I had to pay extra for knee room on Spirit, man. Like,
yeah, that's true. I'm not sure I'd want to rack up a whole bunch of airline miles and points with a credit card just to fly for 12 hours on a plane. Like that seems like a waste of money.
You'd rather drive for 12 hours in your van.
I'd much rather do that.
Yeah.
Or just not buy first class, because that's going to spend or business class or whatever it is. It's going to spend all your points for the last like 3 years. Is what that's going to cost.
There's ways to do it. So they get the sign up bonus. They get the other credit card. They get the sign up bonus. They pay it off with that credit card. They get another credit card, pay that off, get that sign up bonus. They stack them all up. It's stuff they're going to pay off anyways. They get like this 3 to 6 month deferment with the no interest.
This is why I'm poor, because I don't do all this. Like,
dude, they're
hedge inflation if you do it right. You know, if you're a Robert Kiyosaki type and you understand that debt is currency these days, and you can leverage that, you don't actually have to have money to spend money.
Poor dad guy.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah, he does talk a lot about that. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, and that's
kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll let you go. I was going to ramble on Kiyosaki stuff.
Oh, I was saying it is kind of strange people's fascination with flying first class, because it's so much more expensive than like just regular seats. And people are like, oh, well, you can sit in a nice chair and have a nice meal. I'm like, well, I could do that in my apartment. The whole reason I'm getting on the plane is to be able to fly somewhere. I don't want to pay an extra $1,000 to do something that I do all the time. Except
how practical,
yeah, but it is way more out of your pocket.
True. Points. I mean, it makes more sense to do with points than with dollar bills. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, because it is way more. Like, you could get a Delta flight for like $200 round trip, or you could do first class for like $2,000. Like,
and that's the only way it makes sense too. Is if you're stacking, sign up bonuses and reward points and this and that, and you get all these little freebies. There's ways to navigate the system. Like if you watch these shows for extreme couponing, like there are certain grocery stores, certain days of the week they'll double a manufacturer's coupon, and then you wait till they do like a 2-for-1 for the store deal, and then you go in there with the manufacturer's coupon and you double that. And that's how you wind up with 10 bottles of dish soap for $2. Same concept, just with a bigger scale.
I've watched a few episodes of Extreme Couponers on TLC, I regret to admit. And
is that a show?
Yes. Yeah. But the only way that it works is essentially these people, instead of having a job, their job is to go couponing.
Oh, that sounds
so awesome. Like they get all this free food, but then like that's the only way that they like get.
But it takes as much time as like a job.
They're stay-at-home moms. The husband calls her and says, "Hey, honey, the union gave us a pay cut. We got to find a way to make this dollar stretch." And she's like, "Say no more, fam. I'm getting that red source right now. Grabbing them coupons."
Zach, go ahead and pull up that next article. Do you think Putin's going to collect the $250,000 reward from the FBI for killing Prigozhin? It's literally a reward for killing.
Oh my god!
Is there a way to laugh in Hebrew to this?
No. Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious that he's on the FBI's most wanted list.
Those are some pretty gangster photos of him.
Yeah. It's all the same place too. He's wearing the exact
I was going to say
tie.
it's the same tie and the same bloodshot eyes.
Yeah. So, that's an interesting one. We were talking a little bit about it earlier, but like, what effect does this have on like the inner workings of the Russian military? Like, how much distrust in Putin does this sow? And like that,
Well, because the Wagner forces allegedly, this is what we were told, right? Yeah. I don't know, because usually one of the other sources that I like to watch is F-24 out of France.
Okay.
Because they're usually pretty good. That they'll be like, oh, the dumb Americans think this and this and this about this issue. Especially when it's international affairs. Mm-hmm. I don't know what RT thinks about it, but we got one of our great American journalists, Lee Strobel, works for RT. So I'm curious to see what he's going to come out with on this.
Yeah.
But just initially, if we're to believe what was in the narrative recently, was that the Wagner forces moved on Moscow to
right
depose Putin. what we're going to believe, at least what we're being led to believe, is now there's a massive demoralization in the Russian forces, and it's the time to strike. And the GOP debates are happening right now.
No, I would be very hesitant before we started to think that it was some sort of op targeted at the American people, because as Suhas often reminds me, a sizable minority of the U.S. population can't name the 3 branches of government. If you went up to
Pepsi,
on the
Coke,
street and was like, "Have you ever heard the name Yevgeny Prigozhin?" They'd be like, "Pringle who?"
But let me remind you something.
The conspiracy theory is expecting way too much of the American people to be able to understand it at all.
This isn't a fully developed theory, but let me remind you of something. Our poorest people, our lowest class people that are on all the government handouts, all the this and that stamps and the cards and the this and that, have more disposable income than the French middle class. Most of the European middle class. We all have air conditioning, for God's sakes. All of us. It's a human right over here, mostly. So
not in Washington.
So just know that we're dumb, we're easily agitated, and we have so much disposable income, and we're still the world reserve currency, at least for now.
Yeah.
So this would be the easy bait and switch to get us to get into something where we are totally not the good guy. We have no reason to really do this. And then that would be the flip on the world stage of, you guys screwed up and you suck and I don't like your money.
What if you compare us to, instead of another country though, what if you compare us to us at another time? Because like 100 years ago in the Great Depression, I was just watching a thing on this that like the comparison, even like, you know, relative to inflation and all that, is crazy how much more expensive things are today, like for houses, cars, food, gas, every other thing or whatever.
Yeah, Alden,
and then wage was more.
Yeah, I would partially agree with that, but I think one important thing to point out is housing has gotten a lot more expensive, but the houses today are a lot bigger than they were 100 years ago. Like in 1960, the median square foot of a home was 1,300 square feet. Now it's like 2,600 square feet.
That's the square footage that I'm looking for, like, because I can't afford anything else. Jake lives in a van, like.
Yeah.
Down by the river.
Yeah. The average American 100 years ago spent 35% of their income on food. Now it's only 12%. So I think, like, obviously some things have.
They didn't have Netflix, though, you know.
Huh?
That's
right.
We got like 6 streaming apps that we got to choose from, you know, like minimum. Like, no, I hear you, man. I totally hear you. Like, it's hard to compare to something a century ago, just because life is so different. That's so true. Like,
well,
I lived in a house that was built in 1940 at one point, and like it is small. I hear you.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, my grandmother's house is huge, but it was built pre-Civil War. It was used as a base.
Wow.
It was used as a base for one of Sherman's men during the March to the Sea.
Was that why it wasn't burned down?
Could be. Beautiful old antebellum style house. It's lovely. I love that place. So the conspiracy theory that I heard, I'm just going to start saying theory. Conspiracy theory is so stupid. The theory that I heard with the Wagner group is they played the part of Putin's nemesis until they garnered the help of NATO and the U.S. under the table, giving them money and giving them other military items, and then decided, nah, we're with Putin, and stopped fighting against him, or stopped the charade of it. That's just what I have heard from different sources. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
So if that's true, we've got audio of Prigozhin saying that, you know, Putin's off his rocker, he's old and decrepit, he's lost his way, I'm better, anything to that effect, anything that would question Putin's, ego, because they're big on masculinity over there. They're actual, need to remind you, the Slavic nations are real men. Something we've lost in the last 20, 30 years. So anything that would bring into question, Putin's authority or constitution or manhood in any way from Prigozhin, even if it's a deep fake, could be used to Western advantage in this, because then it would say that he was making a chess move, and then that could piss off enough of the actual Wagner forces that his status in the BRICS Accord could be questioned at that point.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is just incredible timing of this happening.
We got a chess master on tonight. How prescient.
Yeah, just the timing of it, man. Like it at least deserves some scrutiny as to like what the actual reports are coming out of Russia and Ukraine. Like it at least requires us to be a little more hesitant to believe what's in the headlines.
Well, if you weren't hesitant of what was in the headlines already, I don't know what to tell you.
At least George W. Bush isn't in power, because if he was, he would have probably funded the Wagner Group and put troops in front of supporting Wagner Group. He's such a neocon. At least like Joe Biden is probably better on foreign policy than George W. Bush, but that's not a high bar.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. What do we got next, Zach? Central Florida man buys 20 millimeter electric Gatling gun pulled from Navy fighter jet. It's one of my favorite Florida man headlines.
Yeah.
He says
Florida man says he has. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to read it. Florida man says he has no immediate plans on what he'll be doing with his newly acquired M61 Vulcan, a 250-pound, 6-foot-long, pneumatic-driven, 6-barrel, air-cooled electric rotary cannon, which fires 6,000 20-millimeter rounds per minute.
Oh my
God!
God!
Like it could have been straight out of the Babylon Bee,
right? Like the fact that they're allowing him to buy this gives me hope. I think this is a white pill in and of itself. Yeah. Like,
is his last name Griswold?
A private civilian now owns this gun that was once.
What's
on
the Babylon Bee? Is that a?
It's a satire site.
Oh,
it's a satire news site.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't
it's
know.
like The Onion, but way funnier.
The Onion, okay. Way funnier. Yeah. It's the Onion before the Onion got woke.
I was just gonna say original Onion level. Yes.
Yeah. Babylon Bee is they have a very well pronounced conservative Christian slant to their satire.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's pretty great. All right, what's next, Zach? I don't remember what we got next. Running out of things. Okay, so this one is interesting. It has, for some reason, the sound has been removed. Is it removed for you too, Zach? Hit play.
Trace route.
Oh wow. Okay.
There it goes.
Yeah, go ahead and click play.
Tiffany Gomez's business website, uppercutmarketing.com.
Pause real quick. Sorry. So you remember Tiffany Gomez, the chick who screamed, "You're not real" on the plane?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What just happened? So this guy is IT guy, computer programmer dude. And this is what, let's just watch.
We're going to trace route on Tiffany Gomez's business website, uppercutmarketing.com, and see if it comes out with Texas coordinates. Let's do that. Uppercutmarketing.com, 23.229.236.7. It's hosted on GoDaddy, so it comes back to Tempe, Arizona, but it also says the host server is 7.236.229.23. That comes back as Columbus, Ohio, for the internet service provider of the DoD Network Information Center.
Oh.
The trace routes don't lie. You can't fuck with an IT. And so here's what the geolocation is for the host server of her business site, uppercutmarketing.com.
Okay.
Yeah. It is what it is. I'm just showing y'all the data.
There we go. By the way, there's a free program called Wireshark if you want to do your own trace routes. So if you really want to mess with some folks that are next to you at Starbucks on an open Wi-Fi network, and I've done this before, and I wound up deleting Wireshark off my laptop because of this, because you go up and know somebody's name, and they're like, "Wait a second, how do you know that?" And it's like, "Well, it's an open Wi-Fi, and you're doing business, and I just followed you."
Jeez.
Yeah.
I just found that to be super interesting.
So I don't know the original clip. Someone said someone wasn't real on a plane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zach, see if you can find that clip because it's weird and bizarre.
Is this like, wait, is this when someone tries to tell her to put on a mask or something, or what was
No. She's saying she's next to a lizard person.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what this is. Wow.
Oh yeah.
And she also looks like she might have been hanging out with Janet Yellen in China.
Yeah.
Dilated pupils and everything.
Well, yeah, I just found it interesting that he was able to trace that IP all the way through to a military base.
Yeah.
It's freaking bizarre, man.
What is it, like the 6 degrees of separation? Like, but now instead of celebrities, like we're all 6 degrees away from a military base somewhere. Like,
Hannah says you need to be.
I need to be more. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But then I'd have to leave this nice cozy rock I'm under. Like,
yeah, that purple rock that you're under.
Yeah.
All right, I think Zach may have found it. He just took away something else and brought something else up. Here we go. This is the one. Turn it up. There you go.
Not real. You right now. That mother back there is not real. I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to. And there's a reason why I'm getting
bye.
They cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real.
So
yeah, I don't really.
So is he a robot? Is he a clone? Is she high?
Yeah, it's
is
one
it
of
all
the
psyop?
One of the weirdest. It's one of the weirdest videos there is, like of a plane freak out. Because normally, like, guy screaming at a baby, you can understand why he wants to scream at a baby, but just don't do that. Like, just don't scream at a baby for crying on a plane. But like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is she even talking about? She's nonsensical. So I don't know what this was.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I want to know who filmed it too, and like, where does their account lead to an army base somewhere? Because then we got something if they're both in on it, you know.
Yeah, that was interesting. Anyway, I just found that interesting because she made headlines for like weeks.
I mean, honestly, I didn't know about this particular thing, but I'm not like surprised at the retracing. You know, I don't know. I've seen weirder things.
Yeah, fair enough. Zach, what do we got next? Is it funny stuff yet, or is it just I don't know? All right, so this is probably from like a week ago. 5 days ago. Yeah, go ahead, play it.
Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what are you talking about? China.
Once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong.
So my thoughts.
The fact
on
that
this,
CNN is saying it.
There we go. Does this mean Joe Biden's dead? Like, is he over? I mean,
CNN
not physically dead. I mean, his presidency. Like,
they're going to hit him with the 25th Amendment before he goes to full term.
Yeah. I mean, like CNN is now saying that Trump was right. CNN said Trump was right. Has that happened in the past 10 years?
Or was that the psyop all along because the man's a lifelong Democrat, y'all?
Yeah, Man, we're getting in like a psyop within a psyop.
I mean, dude made a switch all of a sudden in what, like 2014? Other than that, he's a lifelong Democrat.
To be fair, though, the Democratic Party from his day would be unrecognizable.
Sure. Yeah.
Like 30 years ago, Democrats were not what they are now. So, like, if your principles stay the exact same, if you have any principles, I don't think he does. But if your principles stayed the exact same, you would no longer be a Democrat if you were a Democrat 30 years ago. So I don't know. But like the fact that CNN is allowing Jake Tapper to say that Trump was right and Biden was wrong, I think signals the end. Like there's no way that Biden makes the next presidency. Like there's no way he gets.
It kind of signals a shift in if the media is changing its show pony.
But then the question is like, how are they going to do this without a legit candidate to replace him? Like, I think the closest one would be Gavin Newsom. It ain't going to be.
Has entered the chat.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom.
No, it's gonna be Michael Obama.
I'm pretty sure she said she will not run. Period.
Yeah,
I think she said that the other day. But like. Newsom would be the only one, but do people actually like Newsom outside of morons in California? Like, how does
morons
he poll
in
well?
Other places.
Yeah, morons in other places. Like, does anybody know anything about the Democratic polling right now? Because I know nothing.
According to the prediction markets, like they predict it, like the betting markets, he's actually like I think the third most after Robert F. Kennedy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Higher than Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Wow. Man, people, gosh, I just don't understand people. Like,
wait, how high up is RFK right now?
He's second.
Wow.
Yeah. RFK second. I mean, there's nobody else. Like, because people generally don't challenge the incumbent. And so, like, the only reason it has to be that Gavin Newsom is the replacement for Biden, because otherwise he wouldn't be in the running at all. And, like, RFK is not your typical current Democrat. He's willing to buck the DNC and do his own thing.
Yeah, but also I would like to point out like the betting markets don't always get it right, because like a week ago it gave Chris Christie a 5% chance of being in the
GOP. I'm pretty sure I told you to short that. You should have listened.
Yeah, no, that was never going to work out for him. Goodness gracious. Anyway, I just found that super interesting that, I mean, if there isn't a bigger signal of the end of a presidency, I mean, CNN saying that a Republican is correct is got to be.
I think it is signaling, yeah.
I mean, it might be a signal for the end of times. Like, I don't even know. Let's see. Hannah says, all I'll say is Gavin Newsom sends a lot of political emails for someone with no intent to run. And I guess, Hannah, don't be ashamed. You give to the DNC. It's not your fault. Not your fault.
Well,
tricked into it.
American Psycho's on his term limits right now with being governor, right? Like he can't run again.
Correct.
He's Pelosi's nephew, so he's tied in with the mob in New York.
I completely
is he really?
That.
Yeah,
he was Pelosi's nephew.
Yeah.
Gosh, that family sucks ass.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
So it's his turn.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that the other day on Tim Pool. Another reason to listen to Tim Pool. Well,
I got it from Dr. Savage a year and a half ago. So
okay. All right. Well, let's. Anybody got anything else to say about anything in the news right now before we go to the only two funny things that I was able to find?
I would like to promote a book right now. So
do it, Suhas.
So a book is coming out in mid-September. It's called Social Justice Fallacies by the great and legendary Thomas Sowell. So I would encourage. He's going to be interviewed on Uncommon Knowledge by Peter Robinson.
Okay.
And so I'm very excited for the book to come out. You know, he is 93 years old, so we don't know how many more books he can actually write. But so I'm very excited for that to come out. I encourage everybody to go buy it.
Name it again. What's the name of it again?
Social Justice Fallacies.
Social Justice Fallacies by Thomas Sowell. Yes, please. I'll absolutely get the audiobook and listen to that.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no one's got anything else. Zach, let's go to the funny stuff. Oh wait, hold on. Go back. What
I was gonna ask how we feel about, instead of like waiting to do all of a 9/11 thing, like what if I did like one 9/11 fact a day at the end? Just like,
all right, what's your 9/11 fact
disseminate
of the day, Alden? What's your 9/11 fact of the day?
I was gonna do something that I was reminded of when we were talking about like this woman on the plane and then like tracing back like 3 degrees away from like an army base or whatever.
Okay.
And just like looking into where things come from or whatever. Like most, if not all, of the photos used of the actual like explosions of the towers were by freelance photographers, and they were called civilian photography, but they were all like for hire. Their day job is freelance photography, and the I think it was the Fox helicopter guy that had, for his channel, his footage, he runs a company that does photoshopping from the air, basically, where he films and he has all the equipment in the chopper to do real time, like, you know, we can get into all the terms of like the designing and the, what keys mean and whatever. But like, anyway, look into where the things come from. Go like 1, 2, or 3 degrees like out and from where things come from, and it will lead you to interesting places.
Are we still planning on having a big debate on this?
I still want to do that too.
Oh, we are. We'll
but I'm
get
just
to
too
that.
excited. I can't wait. So I got to do little bits at a time, or I'm going to explode.
The 4 of us need to get on an actual phone call sometime in the next few weeks, because I'm back in Atlanta starting September 14th or 15th. So
okay, that's pretty soon.
Yeah, so I'll be around, and yeah, we got to do that because that's going to be a good one. I'll rent out. Yeah, I'll go rent out Jared's cabin, and we can do it in the woods around a fire.
Yeah,
it'll be
nice. Yeah, I'll have juicier facts later, but that was just the one little detail that I thought of just sort of organically today. But
love it.
I can't say that I'm overly excited about doing a lot of research about why 9/11 was not an inside job, but I guess duty calls.
Duty calls, Zane.
Did we decide you were going to be like
me and Zane
on this one?
Me and Zane. It's me and Zane versus you and Steven.
Is that okay? We'll talk about the structure.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about the structure later
before we lock that in. But yeah.
Let's
there
do
we go.
that later. All right.
I know. I need.
And hopefully,
Steven
the structure doesn't spontaneously self-implode.
Structure.
All right, Zach. Let's pull up the 2 funny things that I found for the week and get out of here. Is Zach even there? I feel like Zach might be having. There we go. Can I hit play on this? Uber now gives you an option to pay to find a walking buddy.
That's so weird.
You gotta hit play on that, man. Because that
How to make money on this thing? It's simply too good. Got to figure out how to make money on this. I really want to.
If y'all don't know him, that's the guy from I Think You Should Leave. Highly recommend getting high or getting drunk and watching his Netflix show, because that dude it's uncomfortable hilariousness. He's incredible. But like just the fact that you can go on Uber now and pay to go find somebody to walk around with. In this case, $7.50 just to walk with somebody.
I feel like that would be more uncomfortable even than being in the car with somebody.
Yeah. Right? Freaking bizarre.
Well, and you know, if you don't believe in Jesus, the FBI is always walking with you if you have a smartphone.
There we go. There we go. All right, Zach, let's do the final one of the day. Maybe. Zachary. There we go. Love it. Okay, so this is a 911 dispatch call. Refresh. There we go. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Particular emergency here. My cat attacked our 7-month-old child, and I kicked the button, the cat in the rear, and it has went off over the edge, and we aren't safe around the cat. It's a very large Himalayan, and we're trapped in our bedroom. He won't let us out of our door.
Does the child need medical attention? attention?
No, he's just got scratches on his forehead. But the cat, we don't know what to do about the cat. He's gone. He's trying to attack us. He's very, 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 very hostile. I tried to get a hold of animal control.
Hang on just a second. You guys are inside your bedroom right now.
Yeah, and when I leave out the bedroom to let the police in, I'm gonna have to fight this cat.
How large?
22 pounds, maybe.
You said your child does not need medical attention, right?
No, he just got a couple gashes on his forehead. They're very small, puncture ones, little punctures. He's got a little bump. I kind of got the cat before he did any more damage.
Okay, and do you think the cat is ill?
I don't know. I think that the cat he's got kind of a history of violence. He's kind of a violent cat already, but he's really bad right now.
That was
literally a hostage situation phone call because of a cat.
It sounds like a prank, but I believe it. Like
it's calls like that. Like I was this close at one time to getting a Savannah cat because there's breeders down in Vienna, Georgia. It's town in South Georgia. It's spelled like Vienna, but it's Vienna. Not far from Dublin, so you can go get some good almonds and good peanuts down there. And $7,500, you can get a Savannah cat. I mean, you got to go through a little training course. But these things are
expensive.
They're mini cheetahs. I mean, it's
interesting. We got to get one so that Adam Nutter can fight.
I was just going to mention Adam Nutter. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, these things get up to 75 pounds, dude. They play fetch. They'll get in the shower with you. You can take them for a walk.
Hey, whoa! Why did you mention the shower thing? You freaking weirdo!
Well, because most cats get flipped out when they get wet. So
what do you do with your cat? You know?
Well, I mean, my current cat, like I feed it until it get the hell off of me. You know.
Just the fact that these people were literally trapped in their own bedroom, just picturing that in my head is hysterical.
Yeah. So the Himalayan, a 22-pound Himalayan, is that like a lynx? I mean, is this like a?
I think those are the ones that look kind of like it.
It's not that big of a cat. Like, just take a bat and whack that thing, man.
I don't know, man. My cat's 21 pounds, and he's a tough motherfucker, man.
Yeah, I feel like though, if you walked into the room with a bat, that cat can't.
Yeah, but then you're killing the cat. You know what I mean? Like
they're gonna kill the cat anyway.
Yeah,
that cat is dead.
If that cat was attacking my kid, I'm going for the throat. I'm gonna get scratched, but it's going down.
Yeah, if you grab it by the neck and then just hold it out here, it's like I don't know. It can only reach your arm, I guess, right? You know, we can take cats.
Your arm would get shredded if you.
That exposes.
You have to hold it by
wrist.
the back of the neck.
Yeah, you got to put a knee on the midsection and kind of lean into the whole throat.
You got to put duct tape on his back, and then they lay down. And then
for instructions on how to kill a cat, Liberty Libations.
There we go.
Have you seen that where someone puts tape on the cat's back and the cat just like lays flat? Like
yeah, you have no idea what's going on.
Did y'all see that scene where it's like the woman in an airplane? Not the imaginary woman.
Right. Okay.
The woman puts so much tape around her seat, and it's and the flight attendants had to come over and like get the tape off because she wanted like privacy. I wish that they would just get the tape and like put it over the cat.
What did she try to tape up, like a hospital curtain type thing or something? Or
all that one. She basically tried to tape an entire like
a wall, like a divider.
It was
wow.
It was so dumb.
I mean, points for creativity. You know, that's original.
It's pretty creative. All right, y'all. That'll do it. That'll do it for this week. Suhas, thank you for joining us, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Steven, Alden, Zane, as usual, great time having you. Great time talking with y'all for a couple hours. Look forward to this all week, every week. So thank y'all. If you have any questions about Libertarian Party of Georgia, which we might not be the best representations of it on this show, but we're better. We're better than some. We're better. Zane's.
I think Zane's pretty good.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say,
if you like what Zane has to say, go to lpgeorgia.com to learn more about the Libertarian Party of Georgia. You can also follow us on Twitter at lpgeorgia and Instagram Libertarian Party of Georgia. All right, y'all. Looking forward to next week. We'll see you then. Peace.